的な問題だったりこんな範囲でこれじゃないですか。部屋もそうですね。今、ワシントンに3人中国経験者が来て、大久保さんも行ってるし、あと、田中光也と、あと、木梨さん、3人、上海3人で、いやむしろだから、こっちの人がワシントンに行くときに、同行いらないんだよ。まあ、3人中国専門家がされた場合によっては、困る。大丈夫です。こっちのあれですから、めちゃくちゃやりづらい。絶対かない。あっち行ったらいけないと思った。そもそも合図が切れるし、こっちで更新しようと思ったら、全然ね、なんかネットでエラーばっかりで、いや。陸上自衛隊のドームがここについて、まあそれはね、ずっとどこについてる日本で聞かないです。そうそう、もちろん聞かない。最近日本のことは彼らにいや、そう、仕事出てくる。そういうのは、発表する可能性あるじゃないですか。いいかもしれない。それ出す。確かに。詳細知らないと、ちょっとフィギュアそう感じちゃう。台湾市指導お願いします。まあ、ブラックリストとか更新いやもう出たばっか。僕も出たばっか。めちゃくちゃね、早く言いたかった。今こうやってるのが足りないじゃないですか。めちゃくちゃね、そう。めちゃくちゃ早く言いたかったけど、まだ働きが足りないみたいな。9時に9時20分が待ってる。
外交部，外交部，外交部。
此时123，123。 friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to press conference. First, I'd like to issue two messages. At the invitation of President of the Republic of Djibouti, Ismail Omar Guelleh, and President of the Republic of Uganda, President Xi Jinping, Special Envoy and Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, Luosang Jiangcun, will travel to Djibouti City for the inauguration of President Guelleh on May 9th and to Kampala for the inauguration of President Museveni on May 12th. At the invitation of Costa Rica, President Xi Jinping, Special Envoy and Chairman of the International Development Cooperation Agency, Chen Xiaodong, will attend the presidential handover ceremony in Costa Rica's capital, San Jose, from May 7th to 8th. Next, you may raise your questions.
China Arab TV, according to the Philippine media report, today the Type 88 missile of Japan was launched for the first time in the Balikatan military exercise, which is the first time for Japan to launch offensive missiles overseas after the World War II, was China's comment.
Japan bears grave historical responsibilities for Southeast Asian countries, including the Philippines, due to its aggression and colonial rule. In this special year, which marks the 80th anniversary of the beginning of the Togo trials, the once aggressor has failed to deeply reflect on its historical crimes. Instead, it has sent military forces overseas and fired offensive missiles under the pretext of security cooperation. This move once again proves that Japanese right-wing forces are pushing for accelerated remilitarization of Japan. They have repeatedly breached Japan's exclusively defense-oriented policy and relevant rules in international and domestic laws. Some of their policies and moves have gone far beyond the scope of self-defense. The series of lack of education on true history, the fundamentally wrong historical views, and the strategic attempts for military rearmament have led to the malevolent emergence of neo-militarism in Japan and threatened regional peace and stability. We urge the Japanese side to deeply reflect on its history of militarist aggression and honor its commitments and stay prudent in military and security areas. Next question, please.
谢谢中国日报提问。我们注意到日前赖清德乘坐斯威士兰。
We noted that
China Daily. Lighting sneaked into Eswatini on his plane while in Eswatini he spoke about diplomatic independence, yet the international community and people in Taiwan described his action as thief-like and an international joke. What's your response? Even though there was widespread opposition, Lighting sneaked onto a foreign plane and cheated himself into Eswatini by colluding with the country to conceal passenger information. On his return flight, after use of airspace was rejected by relevant countries, Lai again slipped into the country which forced its way through the airspace. By cheating his way into Eswatini and forcing his way back, Lai apparently showed the world how little respect he has for relevant countries' airspace and sovereignty, and how little he cared for the opinion of the world. What he did was extremely dangerous and unhinged. The fact that he would smuggle himself into the country shows exactly how Taiwan independent separatism is shady business and unacceptable to the international community. His act was nothing but a scandal and stunt. Some politicians in Eswatini who were kept in Taiwan's pay have been acting against the trend of history by providing space to Taiwan independence. China strongly condemns it. In recent years, we've been hearing people from various sectors in so-called Taiwan's diplomatic allies strongly calling on their countries to grow ties with China. Which is the right thing to do? To see where the arc of history bends and respond to their people's will, or to continue serving as a political prop and putting up a front for Lai Ching-te and his kind? The politicians in these countries need to think twice, make the wise decision, and stop going further down the doomed path. There's but one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. Facts have proven time and again that the One China principle is an international consensus that has solid support and is simply unshakable. The pursuit of Taiwan independence is a dead end, and its days are numbered. The more frantic Lai Ching-te's attempts are, the less possible they will lead him anywhere. We urge those separatist forces to turn back from the wrong course, which is the only right choice. Next one, please.
Thank you. A question from AFP.
法新社，王毅外长和伊朗外长阿拉格齐在北京在今天进行会谈。在这一场会谈上，双方外长谈论了什么问题？是否谈及允许船只通过霍尔木兹海峡？外交部能否介绍会谈的具体情况
？On May 6th, member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with Iranian Foreign Minister Araqchi. The two sides exchanged views on bilateral relations and international and regional affairs. We will release relevant information, and you can stay tuned.
谢谢发言人。北京广播电视台记者提问：我们注意到最新统计显示，刚刚过去的5一。
Beijing Daily, according to the latest statistics, during this year's May Day holiday, it's estimated that over 1.5 billion cross-regional trips were made in China, a daily average of more than 300 million, up by 4% from last year, was made. Hotel group purchase sales increased by 86% year-on-year. Box office exceeded 750 million yuan. In particular, inbound tourism recorded phenomenal growth as China becomes the destination of choice of more and more foreign tourists. Many see this as the indicator of the strong pulse of China's economy. What's your comment? Perhaps many of you, home or abroad, had a first-hand experience of the May Day holiday boom in various destinations across China. The data you just mentioned demonstrate the strong resilience of China's economic growth and the huge potential of the Chinese market. We also noted that more and more foreign tourists came to China during the holiday to experience the strong sense of safety and sweet moments of everyday life unique to this country. This also attests to the appeal of China's policies and measures towards facilitating cross-border travel, guided by its commitment to high-level opening up. China will open its door wider to the world. As the Chinese-style movable feast brings prosperity across borders, it will surely inject more vitality and positive expectations into the world economy. Next one, please.
Two questions from Russia today.
RT. 两个问题，第一个，特朗普称习近平主席非常令人尊敬。特朗普还称，希望中方能够自美国购买石油，而不是从伊朗购买石油。中方对此有何回应？是否愿意考虑特朗普提出的这一提议？第二个问题是，贝森特最近对中国进行了说教，呼吁中方做一个负责任的全球公民，并要求中方支持美方主导的霍尔木兹海峡行动。考虑到美方一直以来单方面进行军事行动，并且进行施压，中方对此有何评论？
Regarding your first question, China and U.S. maintained communication regarding Trump's visit to China. Regarding the Iranian situation, China has made its position quite clear for multiple times. For China's specific questions regarding China's energy policy, I refer you to competent authorities. Regarding our second question, China's position on the Strait situation is quite clear, is that we hope relevant sides would act with prudence and avoid escalation and resolve disputes through dialogue and restore peace and tranquility in the Strait. China will continue to make efforts to de-escalate the situation and will make utmost effort to protect the safety and security of Chinese ships and crew. Next question, please.
谢谢发言人。湖北广电记者提问：据报道，近日安提瓜。
According to reports, results of the recent general election in Antigua and Barbuda have been released. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party won 15 of the 17 seats in the House of Representatives. Leader of the party, incumbent Prime Minister Gaston Brown, has secured another term in office. Does China have any comment? China congratulates Prime Minister Gaston Brown on winning another term. We stand ready to work with Antigua and Barbuda, a good friend and partner in the Caribbean, to continue deepening practical cooperation in various areas and bring our friendly relations to a new level and deliver more benefits for both peoples. Next question, please.
Thank you, Associated Press.
美联社追问关于伊朗的问题，美国政府并且要求中方对伊朗进行施压，来开放霍尔木兹海峡。中方对此有何评论？
The situation in the Strait of Hormuz is continually tense. So long as we reach a ceasefire as soon as possible, can we create necessary conditions for the de-escalation of the situation, the territorial security and territorial integrity of Gulf countries should be respected, and legitimate security concerns of regional countries should be paid attention to. The legitimate rights and interests of the international community should be maintained. Next question, please.
Thank you. Bloomberg News.
彭博社，你刚才提到，中美双方正在就特朗普访华进行沟通，中方能否提供更多的细节？
你可以继续保持。
You can stay tuned.
Question from the New York Times.
纽约时报，中方是否就美方连夜暂停护航船只通过霍尔木兹海峡一事与美方进行了协调，以便为今天中伊外长会谈争取机会？
I've made China's position clear just now on the situation of Strait of Hormuz. China's position has been clear. We hope relevant parties could act with prudence and avoid escalation, resolve conflict through dialogue, and restore peace and tranquility of the Strait. China will continue to make efforts to de-escalate the situation.
Thank you, spokesperson. Two questions.
我有两个问题。第一个问题， 追问关于赖清德的问题，他从斯威士兰乘飞机返台，整个行程非常的长。在这一路线的问题上，他避开了马达加斯加和毛里求斯的领空，而且在返程的过程中，通过了印尼、马来西亚、菲律宾、文莱。中方对这些国家是否进行了沟通？中方是否召集了这些国家的大使，对他们进行做工作？
Whether to open territorial airspace is the sovereignty of all countries. Some countries uphold the One China principle and refuse to issue flight permit for Lai Ching-te. Such just acts is in line with international law and basic norms of international relations. This speaks to the fact that the One China principle is what the major trend of international community, and the separatist acts of Taiwan independence forces do not win support. Next question, please.
A question from AFP. The 40.
法新社东盟的峰会将会在下周在菲律宾进行，中方将派谁出席？
According to Euro practice, the ASEAN summit is attended by leaders of ASEAN member states. Dialogue partners are not included. Next question, please.
Thank you. Ukraine News Agency.
乌通社，我有2个问题。泽连斯基表示，乌克兰自5月6号起进行停火，并且希望俄罗斯也采取相应的行动，并且强调乌克兰认为人民的生命比任何周年纪念活动更有价值。外交部对这一停火的提议有什么样的评论？第2个问题，有2个中国公民在去年夏天的时候同俄罗斯方面与乌克兰作战，并且被俘。乌克兰没有办法，只能将这2个中国公民交给俄罗斯。中国政府是否还记得这2名雇佣兵？是否正在采取措施将他们解救出来？
On the Ukraine crisis, China's position is crystal clear. We support all efforts for peace and hope relevant parties will continue to resolve the crisis through dialogue and negotiations. On the second question, China asks the Ukrainian side to follow the relevant international laws to safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese nationals and ensure that they are treated humanely. We've issued multiple security alerts to ask Chinese nationals to stay away from areas of armed conflict, avoid any form of involvement in armed conflict, and in particular avoid participation in any party's military operations. Next question, please.
Thank you, spokesperson. Another question.
路透社，美国国家运输安全委员会发布了一个报告，报告显示，中国东航航班的2个发动机燃油开关在 MU5735 在2022年3月份坠毁之前同时关闭了。中方对此有何回应？
The specific question you raised, please, I refer you to relevant competent authorities. Next question, please.
A question from the New York Times.
纽约时报，中方是否要求伊朗停止攻击装载其他波斯湾国家出口产品的船只？
我刚才已经说过了。
I've just mentioned, so long as we reach comprehensive ceasefire, can we build conditions to ease the tension in the Strait of Hormuz. Our position has been clear. The security and territorial integrity of countries of the Gulf should be respected, and the international community's legitimate rights and interests must be safeguarded.
彭博社，外交部关于王毅外长和阿拉格齐外长的会谈的消息稿中提到，中方将会为和平发挥更大的作用。中方能否更进一步解释更大作用指的是什么？
在同伊朗外长阿拉格齐的会谈中
In the meeting with Foreign Minister Araqchi, Foreign Minister Wang Yi stressed that since the outbreak of the war, China has been actively promoting peace talks. President Xi's proposal of promoting and safeguarding peace in the Middle East, the 4-point proposal, have been receiving support of the international community. Currently, the situation is at a transition point. China believes that comprehensive ceasefire should be immediate, and we should not have a restart of the war. We should, all the more important, stick to negotiations. China supports the Iranian side to uphold national security and sovereignty, commends Iranian side to seek political settlement through diplomatic channels. Regarding the Strait of Hormuz, the international community have a mutual concern regarding the normal passage of the Strait of Hormuz. China hopes relevant parties to respond to the strong calls of the international community. China calls that the Strait and Middle East countries should hold their fate firmly in their hands, encourage Iran to conduct dialogue with more Strait countries to realize good neighborliness and friendship, to realize a peace and security structure that is conducive to common development. Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that China is willing to uphold the 4-point proposal proposed by President Xi and set the goal of building 4 common homes and continue to support the peace talks and play a bigger role for the peace and tranquility in the Middle East. Regarding the specific information, you can refer to the news outread. Next question, please.
谢谢中华卫视再次提问。
China Arab TV. Recently, the UK government announced sanctions on entities and individuals on the grounds of providing military supplies such as drone pods to Russia. The sanctions targets 2 Chinese entities. What's China's comment on that?
China opposes unilateral sanctions that have no basis in international law or the authorization of the UNSC. China strongly deplores the UK's move and has lodged serious protests with the UK side. On the Ukraine crisis, China has been committed to promoting talks for peace and strictly controlled the export of dual-use items. Normal exchanges and cooperation between China and Russia should not be disrupted or affected. China will do what is necessary to firmly protect its legitimate and lawful rights and interests. Next question, please.
Thank you. Question from RIA Novosti.
俄新社，美国国务卿卢比奥评论中国商务部要求不得执行美方因涉嫌与伊朗石油关系而对中国炼油厂实施制裁的时候表示，如果你不遵守制裁，将面临2级制裁。中方对此有何评论？
China's relevant authorities has made China's position clear. I want to stress that China always opposes sanctions without international law or authorization of the UNSC. Relevant regulations are carried out according to law and applied to relevant laws. China will keep a close eye on the situation related to the unjustified extraterritorial application of foreign legislation and other measures in relevant countries, and China will firmly safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese citizens and companies in accordance with the law. Next question, please.
Thank you. Another one from
俄新社，俄罗斯将在5月9号举行胜利日阅兵。俄方此前宣布将会有外宾参加阅兵，中方能否介绍一下中方出席的情况
？I don't have relevant information. Any other questions? And that'll be the end of today's press conference. Thank you.